You have things to do, numbers to calculate, a mind that hasn't stopped running figures since the moment you opened your eyes this morning. How much is coming in? How much is already gone? How much further the gap is between where you are and where you know you're supposed to be? And still, something pulled you here. I want you to stop for just a moment. Put down the mental arithmetic, because what I am about to tell you is not a motivational speech. It is not a promise built on empty air. It is a message that was set aside, specifically for someone who has been faithful in a season that has felt anything but fair. That someone is you, and heaven has seen every single quiet sacrifice you thought went unnoticed. Stay with me, because what comes next will change the way you see everything that has been happening to you financially and why it has been happening for you all along. Validating the invisible. Let me tell you what your days have actually looked like. Not the version you show the world, the real one. You're the person who checks your account balance before you go to sleep. Not because you enjoy it, but because the anxiety of not knowing feels worse than knowing. You have become fluent in a mathematics that no school ever taught. The mathematics of stretching, of prioritizing, of deciding which bill waits and which one cannot. You have sat in rooms full of people and smiled, genuinely smiled, while internally calculating whether you could afford the round of drinks, the dinner split, the gift for the occasion. You have said, "I'm fine," so many times that the words have lost their shape entirely. And there is something else, something that lives in the private hours. You have lain awake at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., the hour when everything feels final and nothing feels solvable, and asked God a question you were almost ashamed to ask. Not why me, deeper than that. The question was, did I do something wrong? Is this punishment? Am I missing something that everyone else seems to understand? Pause for a moment. Take a breath. You're not being punished. You're being processed. And there is a profound and sacred difference between the two that I need you to understand before we go any further. What I'm about to walk you through are not theories. These are the specific spiritual signatures of a season that is ending. A season of compression that precedes expansion. If you recognize yourself in even two of these signs, you are closer than you think. Sign 1. You have been faithful with a little, and it has cost you. You are not someone who has been reckless. You're not someone who ignored responsibility or spent without thought. In fact, if anything, you have been too responsible. You have carried financial weight that was never entirely yours to carry. You have given when you were already empty. You have covered others quietly, without announcement, because that is the nature of who you are. And yet the return has not come. The relief has not arrived. And the world would look at your situation and call it poor management. But heaven looks at your situation and calls it something else entirely. Faithfulness under pressure. The widow in Scripture did not have abundance when Elijah arrived at her door. She had a handful of flour, a little oil, enough for one last meal. And yet she gave first, and the flour did not run out. The oil did not fail. You have been that widow, giving from your last, trusting from your empty. God has not missed a single act of it. Sign 2. Doors have closed, quickly and without warning. Opportunities that seemed certain evaporated. A deal that was almost done fell through. A conversation that felt like a breakthrough went quiet. A job, a contract, a connection that was right there. And then suddenly, inexplicably, wasn't. And you felt the ground shift beneath you each time. But here is what I need you to understand. Not every closed door is a failed door. Some closed doors are redirections wrapped in the appearance of rejection. Heaven frequently shuts the path that would have taken you away from what it has prepared, even when that path looked like the answer. What walked away from you was not your blessing. What walked away from you was a detour in disguise. Protection often feels like loss. Remember that. Sign 3. You have had specific, recurring thoughts about a new direction. Pause for a moment. Take a breath. There's an idea that keeps returning to you. A direction, a skill, a version of your working life that looks different from what you are doing now. You have dismissed it, probably multiple times because it feels impractical, risky, presumptuous, even to think it could actually work. But it keeps coming back. That is not wishful thinking. That is not escapism. A thought that returns with persistence and peace, not panic, but peace, is not coming from your fear. It is coming from something far deeper, something that knows the path you cannot yet see. That recurring thought is a compass, and you have been calling it a daydream. Sign 4. Your relationship with money has been shifting internally. Something has been changing in you that you may not have named yet. You are beginning to feel, almost against your will, a detachment from the desperation. There are moments, brief ones, where the anxiety loosens its grip, where instead of panic, you feel something quieter, almost like a knowing, as if something inside you is no longer entirely afraid. That is not denial. That is not naivety. That is faith being rebuilt from the inside out. And it is one of the clearest signs that a financial shift is not just possible. It is already in motion beneath the surface of what your eyes can currently see. Proverbs 10 verse 22 tells us, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth, and he adds no trouble to it." What is coming for you will not arrive with chaos attached to it. It will not come with the anxiety you have been carrying. It will arrive with a steadiness that tells you, this is the one. This is what I was being held for. The reframe. I want to reframe this entire season for you, because you have been reading it incorrectly, and it is not your fault. When you're inside the pressure, it is nearly impossible to see its purpose. The financial tightness you have been living in has been doing something invisible to you. It has been building your capacity. Every month you manage the unmanageable. You are being trained in a stewardship that most people never develop because they never had to. The skill of operating with discipline under pressure. The wisdom of understanding real value. The character of remaining generous even when generosity felt impossible. You are being qualified for a level of resource that requires exactly the person this season has been making you. God does not release abundance to people who haven't yet been shaped to hold it. The shaping is the preparation. The pressure is the curriculum. Exodus 14 verse 14 speaks directly to where you are standing right now. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. The shift prediction. In the next 48 to 72 hours, I need you to watch carefully. There is a financial movement already in motion that began before you found this video today. A conversation that is about to resurface. An opportunity that will present itself in a form you may not immediately recognize as the answer. So stay open. Stay observant. You're going to receive information, perhaps an unexpected message, a phone call, an idea that arrives fully formed that begins to illuminate the next step forward. It may feel small at first. Do not dismiss it because of its size. The seed and the harvest do not look the same. What arrives in the next 3 days is a seed moment. Treat it accordingly. Also, and listen to this carefully, someone is going to come to mind in this window. Someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Do not overthink whether to reach out. Make the move. Heaven works through people. And sometimes your breakthrough is standing on the other side of a conversation you've been hesitating to have. The door is not closed. It has simply been waiting for you to knock again. If this message reached the part of you that has been quietly holding on, the part that keeps showing up, keeps believing, keeps going even when the numbers don't cooperate, then I want you to do one thing right now. Go to the comments and type 777. 777 is your declaration of divine alignment over your finances. It is your statement that you receive this message, that you trust what is moving in the unseen, and that you are ready, truly ready, for the shift that is already on its way to you. And if you know someone who has been struggling quietly with financial pressure, who carries their stress with a smile and never asks for help, share this with them today. Because sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for another person is remind them that heaven has not taken its eyes off them. Not for a single moment. Not even in the hardest months. Especially not then. You were guided here today, and your faithfulness has not gone unseen. Not by me, and not by the God who placed this message in your path.